what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 1993 Mercedes 300 CE. Up front is a 3.2 liter inline six. Down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this Mercedes 300 CE because this is a really rare version of this car. The W124 platform was around for quite some time and you could get them in sedans. You could also get them in convertibles, which I've actually driven, and you could get them in coupes. However, the coupes were very, very limited. About 2% of production was coupes, and so we are driving something pretty rare on the channel here today. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle, rare or not, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 3.2 liter inline six under the hood. Well, it makes about 217 horsepower, which is a very nice number, but that's not really the point of this engine. This engine is meant to be smooth, and that's exactly what it is. Everything in here moves and flows like molasses in the best way possible. And that'll feed into my final thoughts segment for sure, but this is also one of the final generations of Mercedes to offer inline six before they switch to mass market V6s later on. So definitely nice to have an inline today. Like I said, paired to it is an automatic transmission. Now you could find these in manual, however, again, they're very rare. And I like the automatic transmission. I think it's shifting well. It is a little bit lazy. It's not very punctual. However, it is offering that really, really nice, simple, smooth driving experience. Last but not least, the 300 CE is rear wheel drive. How does it feel to drive the 300 CE? Well, it's really, really comfortable. The suspension just flows over every bump, nook, and cranny in the road. The steering is a little bit heavy, but it is very direct. It's very purposeful. Visibility is great, and throttle response isn't wonderful. It's not the punchiest engine I've ever driven, but that's A, what the AMGs are for, and B, not the point of this car. When you rev it out, when you get it into top gear and let it go, it wants to keep going. This car was engineered for the Autobahn, and so it can sit at high speed and be comfortable. So you lose a little bit of that zippiness around town. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a bunch of gauges. Off to the left is my coolant temperature, fuel, and oil pressure. In the center is my speedometer, and off to the right is my tachometer and clock. On the steering wheel, we don't have any forward-facing buttons. Really clean, really simple, and I like that. And off to the left, we have a climate control vent, headlight switches, as well as parking and fog light switch, and our parking brake. And moving out of the door, we have our 2 levels of memory seats, as well as our seat adjustments and our latch to get in and out. Moving into the center, we have 2 climate control vents and a bunch of buttons for our rear defrost, our headrest lowering, recirculating, hazard switch, and dome light, as well as our climate controls. Very simple climate controls. However, they're not quite laid out how modern climate controls are laid out, so it did take a little bit of getting used to try to turn the fan on and whatnot. Temperature off to the left, where to set it in the middle, and fan speed off to the right. Down below that, we do have the standard Mercedes radio. Love to see that. And we have our pop-out ashtray and cigarette lighter. The shifter is pretty typical for any Mercedes in this era. I've dealt with this a lot, and I've always liked it. I think it works well. However, this one specifically says shift to P when parking the car and to press the brake pedal when shifting out of P or N. It says that very, very clearly. Down below that, we do have our window switches, as well as our volume and our power mirror adjustments. Very cool to see that. And we get a little slide opening cubby. However, throughout all of this, we don't have any cup holders, so the 1993 300 CE fails the big friggin' bottle test. Then we do get a armrest / center console and the seats. The seats are this really nice leather and they are very comfortable. This whole entire car is incredibly well kept. It's a second owner vehicle from the Southwest of America, so it was kept out of the rain and snow and it was very well kept. All of this is very, very clean. This is probably the best example of a 300 CE I'll ever drive and that you might ever see on YouTube. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats. So let's go do a backseat review. All right, can't imagine this is gonna be super fun. Also, I don't know if you can see it on camera. The center armrest actually moves with the seat. Whew. All right, once we are in the back of the 300CE, couple of things to note. First of all, I do have my own window switch here, and when the windows are down, there is no B-pillar here in the 300CE, which is a really, really cool feature. Down below, we have a giant openable cubby, a pop-out ashtray. I have my own grab handles up here. And in the center, we do have a center console that is a foam brick. But beyond that, nothing too crazy back here. I do fit, which is not easily said about all coupes, so I guess that is a pretty big win. Let's hop around the back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. Right around the back of the 300CE, big chunky button right there, and pull it up. And as you can see, an absolutely massive trunk around the back of the 300CE. This is what I love about 90s coupes, and especially luxury coupes, is that they always had pretty big trunks, because 9 times out of 10, they were based off of the sedan chassis, so they had a little bit of extra room in the back, and everyone loves a little bit of extra room in the back. So very, very nice to see that around the back of the 300CE. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I actually like the look of this W124 because I think it's very simple. I like the way it's styled. I like the big headlights. It's very, very Mercedes to me. And I say actually because I'm normally not a big fan of coupes. As you saw in the back seat portion, I don't love the functionality of coupes. I much prefer sedans. I always have. I think I always will. Wagon if possible. But I have to say that I actually quite like this. And so that's a big win. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving this Mercedes 300CE from 1993? Well, been a positive experience, as you could probably tell. There's a lot of things that make this car really good. Some of the downsides is that from this era, you might have some electrical gremlins if you buy a car like this. For whatever reason, the radio in this car stops working below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. The owner and I can't figure it out. We have no idea why. It just doesn't work. Sometimes the seatbelt presenters work, sometimes they don't. There's no rhyme or reason to it. So there are little electrical issues here and there, but the overall experience of the 300CE is wonderful. It is so unbothered by the world outside of it. And normally that's saved or reserved for the big V8 cars. The V8 cars are always so unbothered by outside factors. Well, this is an inline-6 car doing the same thing. The suspension rolls and floats through the turns. The gas pedal, no matter how hard I mash it, says, hey, I'll take it from here. It's fine. When you pull away from a stop, it has this sort of whooshing. Hard on the brakes, but even though I'm not flying forward, it's on the brakes, transition into the turn, nice and smooth and flat. Here we are. Now we're on a different street. Keep it moving. That's the best part. And so what it really feels like is if you've ever had someone wealthier than you or just nicer than you, whatever it might be, when someone pays for your dinner or like covers an expense or hotel room and they don't go, oh, wasn't that the best? How'd you like it? Sometimes they don't even mention that they covered it. You just get the bill back, or the waiter says, oh, it was covered by so-and-so. That's all they give you. They don't ask you a million questions. They don't need you to rate the food. They don't want to take a picture with you. They just cover the bill and move on. That's what this car feels like. It feels like a nice gesture of covering a bill without making a big deal out of it. I guess really what I'm chipping away at is that it's the feeling of being cared for. Being cared for without the necessity of return. I don't owe this car anything. This car doesn't owe me anything. And yet it's given me everything. That's what makes this car so great. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to John for letting me take out his Mercedes 300CE. This was such a wonderful, wonderful experience. John has been wonderful to work with, so down to earth. Really, really friendly, and I appreciate him very, very much. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.